Welcome to Blue Tinted Glasses, the home of Leicester City talk on YouTube. Fan debates, live watch-alongs, post-match reactions, and all the Foxes banter you could ask for. Subscribe now and see the game through Blue Tinted Glasses.
Just into race clear. He's got Jamie Vardy with him. Jamie Vardy sets off. Jamie Vardy! Pull back here for Darwin. Oh, he scored! An absolute belter! That is trademark Abdul Darwin.
This one into the box. Nugent over the top. Oh, what a goal! David Nugent's just scored a beauty. He's made Forest look like fools.
Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Good afternoon, welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses for a third time today, fourth time in 24 hours, and it is to obviously talk about the fact Marti Cifuentes has been sacked. Not a surprise, obviously we did the show about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. You know, the news started dropping that there was going to be a meeting this afternoon. But yeah, that meeting has clearly taken place and the decision has been made. Marti Cifuentes has been sacked. Anil, initial thoughts, mate, literally dropped about 5 minutes ago.
Do you know what? I'd like to apologise to everyone on Blue Tinted Glasses for kind of gaslighting you into thinking this was going to be a great manager at the start of the season. What a massive disappointment this manager has been. In my opinion, worse than Van Nistelrooy. I think he should have gone months ago. I think he should have gone maybe at that Norwich game that we were very lucky to get the winner in. Yeah, good riddance, to be honest with you. I think the problem is, though, is that, you know, normally I'd be waving the flag like when Cooper went and being really positive. But I think we've got so many problems at the club. And, you know, let's be honest, look, 7 days left, 6 days left of the window. Probably no one's going to come in. We are a mess and we are really going to be battling hard to stay up now. And it should never have got to this situation. So I am glad he's gone. I think what a massive disappointment he's been. I'm sure most of the fan base is happy to see him gone. But I don't think this is an overnight fix. And that's my real worry. How about you?
Yeah, you're right, though. I do think this one feels a little bit different because we know, I mean, we knew last time, but we know that I feel like, Anil, with the Rude, you know, with the Cooper sacking, we still had, you know, we were still a little bit confident off the back of the Enzo season. So we were confident that Rude would do something. When Rude was sacked, we had a whole summer and season ahead of us. So we were obviously excited, right, that we were going to get this new manager and we've got some youth players coming through. This time round, though, we know that there's no players coming in January unless it's a loan player. We know that we're not going to be paying compensation for a manager. And we know that likely, yes, things might improve a little bit on the pitch. They're not going to, I don't think any of us expect it to improve dramatically. So this sacking does feel a little bit like, yes, but like, I don't know. I'm not sure on what comes next. However, he is gone. We wanted him gone. And we can be happy that he's gone. Let's get Luke in. He was just with us not long ago either. I'll wait for him to sync up there. Daz says, happy he's gone. Performances have been non-existent, but the same problem players are still here. I'm not optimistic at all. Right. Yeah. Luke, what's going on, mate? We've obviously we spoke not long ago, but it is confirmed. Well, it's not confirmed by the club, but TalkSport and John Percy have both said it, so we know it's true if John Percy said it. He is gone, Luke. What are you feeling, mate?
He's allegedly gone. Let's not have the same conversation again. Let me ask you this, Anil, and you, Lox, and everyone else in the chat. What has the club or Kuntop got to do to make this right from this myriad of so many things done wrong? What is the way to build back the bridge if it's even possible? I don't think it is, but like being constructive and positive for the Happy Clappers, what do you think it would take for us to make things right?
for me, the first thing he has to do is this media interview that's coming out. He's got to lay everything on the line. He's got to explain what the fuck he's been doing for the last year, why he's been blanking the club. Because this started in the Ruud van Nistelrooy January transfer window as well, where we were completely silent. Only leaks coming out from Percy, and only why we signed this one random fullback from Italy. So I'd want him to be full mea culpa, explain what's going on, why we've got to this situation. That's what he's got to do. And why, it's led so long to have this managerial change when it's such a mess on the pitch, and why it's such a mess off the pitch. I expect it to be difficult. I'll be honest with you, Luke. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're just going to use him as a patsy to, it's not our fault, it's this guy's fault.
Yeah, it's a good. It's a good question. It's a good question. What can they do to put it right? I mean, I don't think many people really know the answer to that. What can they do? I mean, get rid of Rodkin, but then it's like, this is another example, I guess, on how much did John Rodkin lead the recruitment of Marti Cifuentes, right? Because I think we got the impression a couple times now that Top was more the one who wanted the sexy football type of manager, whereas Rodkin was happy with the Wilders and the Dyches and the Cooper, right? So if that's the case, you could say, well, Rodkin was right. We shouldn't have got Marty. We should have got Wilder, in hindsight. But that's only if that story's true. Maybe Rodkin did lead that. Maybe Rodkin did want Marty. And if that is the case, it's another example where Top should say to himself, this guy is costing me a lot of money, this guy, John Rodkin. So we don't know the ins and outs. We don't know who decided to bring him in. But what can he do right? People in the comments, let us know. What could Top do to help, not put it right, because he won't be able to put it right anytime soon, but just make things go on the right path. I think you bring in an interim manager for the rest of the season on a 6-month contract, not Andy King. A 6-month contract on a manager who is good at fixing problems quick. That's what I would do. That's what I think he needs to do. Now, Top's version of that, idea of that, might be Andy King. But we know at Leicester, we don't really give out short contracts. We give out long contracts. And the managers we speak to will know this. Their agents will know this. So that's what I would do. Let us know in the comments. What about you, Luke, mate? Would you agree with that we need an interim fixer for 6 months, or would you? I don't know. What are you thinking?
Depends on the financial situation. We need someone that's good at developing youth, like right away. Someone that's used to bringing someone in from, the second team, into the first team. That's what we need to see. Someone that can steady the ship in that regard. Because right now we've got people out of contracts, and we don't even know if next season, regardless of what league we are in, what we can spend, or if we're going to spend, mind you. So we have invested. Fortunately, maybe to our credit and saving grace in Seagrave the last 5 or 6 seasons. So hopefully we can start seeing some dividends come through and some of these wonder kids that we're starting to see and hearing about. So if we are to be hypothetically in League One with a points deduction, let's start playing them now. I want to see that. And if Andy King can be the one, whoever's coming in has got a hell of a job in his hands. He's either got to try and set up disgruntled players, or he's got to advance. And basically, we've got to bank on what youth we have and developing them in the Championship, probably one of the most physical leagues, if not the in the country. So there's a lot to ask. It's big shoes to fill, but we all know full well from everything we discussed before, Marti Cifuentes was clearly not the man. We've seen Sumare, a defensive mid, and Skip, defensive mid, playing in a centre-back position. We've seen centre-backs being playing at full-back. We're seeing Jordan Ayew as our main striker playing as a fucking inverted, dropping deep left-back, whatever the fuck you want to call him, Cifuentes position. It's lunacy. It's finished. Thank you, finally. But the question is, Locks, who... We talk about, apparently Top wants the sexy football, and, Rodkin was happy to have Dyche or Cooper, any of these options. Well, whose idea was Enzo? That can't have been, who sourced that? That cannot have been Kuhn Top, say I specifically want him. So if that's Rodkin, there's still something good there. If not, who was it? I want to know. And
well,
go on.
No, I was just going to say the rumor was that it was recommended from an outside party, an external party.
Fucking hire that man.
But wasn't Enzo's? I think Enzo's agent used to be Wasserman as well. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, correct.
He changed it recently.
Over. Yeah.
Hold on to your hats, everybody. We've got someone joining us for a few minutes here, which we haven't seen in a long time. Get ready. Here he is. I'm calling all these guys glory supporters for showing up when the good news comes out. Go on, Ragsy, mate. What's going on? How are you feeling after seeing the news just now reported by John Percy that Marti has been sacked? You're on mute. Good start, mate. I think it's your headset. No, it's your headset, I think.
Ragsy, you're talking mad shit, bro. You're out of control. Just kidding.
No, we can't hear you, man. We can't hear you at all. All right, yeah. Go out and come back in. Who the fuck is that guy? Somebody said, yeah. We need a manager who will give the sorry bunch of self-absorbed wimps a reality check. Yeah. Right, we've got another new face here then. Oh, not a new face, but yeah. Duck, talk to me, mate. What is going on? How are you feeling now after this news?
It's nice. I'm excited to see if we're all right on what happens next, right? There is the high expectation of let's see what Kingy will do. But I'll also apologize, lads. In the summer, I got it wrong. We should not have hired Marti Cifuentes. I was very big on him. And I'm still very big on his ideology, like philosophy of football. It's just clear he can't convert it on the training pitch. I would have loved to see his philosophy pan out the way, me and Anil have talked about it, the presentation Anil did at the beginning. It all seemed like sunshine and rainbows and beautiful football. And we saw just, I think, 2 or 3 beautiful football goals. Other than that, it was scrappy, it was boring, it was shit, and it was carried by individuals. But luckily, no one was here to save him this time around. And if that cost us 3 points, not winning to Oxford to get him sacked, that's good. And we'll see what comes next, and we'll see if it'll be Kingy.
Yeah, we've got Steve as well, so we'll keep them coming. Oh, no, we've lost Steve. Never mind, we've lost Steve. Doc, we were just talking, mate. About... Oh, no, Steve is... No, he's gone. We were just talking, Doc, about... Luke asked a question. What can Top do to try and make this right, to put us on the right path? What are your feelings about that?
I mean, he can start by hiring the technical director that's been spoken about for 3 months now, right? Since the initial rumor came out. Because I would just like to see a plan. Let's see what he talked with Owen about. If it's just apologizing, that's one thing, mate. We can get through this if you start, giving us an actual plan and direction for the club. That's the only way, in my opinion, he's going to start making good on his promise, right? We need a clear plan. We need a clear direction. And we need to be seeing ourselves month after month taking steps in the right direction. No one is expecting this squad to turn it around and instantly, come back, win the league, win every game now. But we just want to see steps taken to build a future of Leicester City that's positive and towards the Premier League. And for me, there is no redemption until we start seeing steps and a concrete plan taken towards that.
I'll come to you in a sec, Steve, but Ragsy, hopefully his audio is working.
Is it good?
Yay! Go on, Ragsy.
There we go.
How you feeling, mate, with the news that he's gone?
Yeah, it's been a minute, boys. It's been a minute. I hope you've been good. I mean... The writing was on the wall for me. I was surprised it didn't really come until even after QPR 4-0. And yeah, I think it was just a case of would we actually have the finances to actually go ahead and sack him? But I mean, even this news and stuff, don't get me wrong. From the start of the season, I've been a staunch defender. I've always held that stance of being he was always going to be set up to fail. He's been blessed with a really poor squad, and there's barely any communication with the hierarchy. So it was always an uphill battle from the start. But even then, let's be honest, he is culpable for the poor form this season, even with this squad. To be
he's
unable to
underperformed.
string some results.
Yes.
Yeah, he still has underperformed, and that's the reality of it. So but I just feel what real effect is that really going to change for us in the future? I don't really see us maybe having a huge upturn in form, maybe for a couple of games. I think it ultimately depends who the plan is for the interim until the end of the season. If they give it to King, I do worry for him. I think he'll keep the morale there, but the players there, most of them are uncoachable. You can't build with this squad. It has to be done from the beginning again. And until we fix those root issues, then I really feel for any manager that would come in and try and inflict some change onto this squad.
It's worth mentioning as well, what is the coaching staff if you presume Xavi Coleman's leaving with him, right? So what have you got to train the boys? You've got Andy King, you've got Andrew Hughes as the set piece coach. There was a room of a goalkeeper coach joining us. I believe Marty confirmed that. We'll probably leave as well if it's through Marty's connection. So what's the if you don't hire anyone, even if it is Kingy until the end of the season, like who the fuck has Kingy got to help him? Andrew Hughes, is that really gonna be able to train and coach 25, 26 people? So like it'll be a really peculiar situation because the coaching staff is thin already with Marty and Xabi Korn there. So something has to happen, I believe.
Let me ask you, Steve. Obviously, welcome to the stream, mate. How are you feeling after seeing the news, mate?
I'm not surprised. Like yesterday was an absolute disgrace, but that's following on the performance against Wrexham and the second half against Coventry and any other game this season you can pick out and say how poor we are. My biggest worry about this whole situation is why is the owner telling Owen Palmer-Atkin 4 or 5 hours before the announcement that we're sacking the manager that we're considering, like how like disorganized do you have to be to allow a journalist to get that exclusive before you sack the manager? Like it's genuinely a disgrace to be in this situation all over again. I'm not surprised that we've sacked him because we set managers up for failure. We did it with Rude. We've done it with Marty. To an extent, not so much with Cooper, but we shouldn't have been put in the first place. This club is rotten, and that you should. We're going to talk about criticizing the manager and how poor he's been and everything like that, right? But I'm going to keep bringing it back to the fact that who appointed this manager? Who, we haven't seen any sort of comeback on the director of football for deciding who to pick up and not to back him in this situation. So. Yeah, I'm just more and more pissed off with the fact that this club is just consistently running itself into the ground. And no matter what interview the top gives with either journalist, Owen Palmer-Atkins, or even if he came on this show and talked to us, like he's just going to fob you off and talk nonsense. So, it's just an additional line of just awful management by the club.
There's another tweet from Owen who just said, obviously what everybody else said, Marti Cifuentes has left his position at Leicester City with immediate effect. It comes after the 2-1 defeat at home to Oxford. Official, so we'll bring up the statement. Bring up the statement. Give me a sec.
Corner flag time, guys. Is that the image they've gone for?
Let's go. Let's have a look. Leicester City.
Oof.
Here we go. I'm sharing it now.
It's not even a corner flag. That's bullshit.
But they haven't done the corner flag in like 3-4 managers.
Where is it? I want to put it on screen.
It's always been a picture.
I'm bringing it up. Here we go.
I'm getting all excited.
Oh, there's a statement.
Okay, so statement, Marti Cifuentes. We can confirm Marti Cifuentes has left his position as Leicester City first team manager with immediate effect. He took charge in July 2025 and leaves with the thanks of everyone at Leicester City for his professionalism and dedication. This is from top. This has been a difficult decision and not one I have taken lightly. I would like to thank Marty for the total commitment he has shown during his time at Leicester. He gave everything to the role and worked tirelessly to help us achieve our targets. However, I believe this is the right step at this time to improve performances and results and to act in the best interest of Leicester City Football Club. Marty leaves with our thanks and our best wishes for the future. Andy King will take charge of first team preparations on an interim basis while we undertake a process to appoint a permanent manager.
So we're not picking a technical director first. Then we're going to potentially pick a new manager and then bring the technical director in. After.
Well, the technical director are publicly, right? So that is probably still a process happening in the background, but I doubt they will come in before the manager unless something is closed we just don't know about or no journalists have been able to pick up.
If Andy King wins 3 on the bounce, you guaranteed he's seeing out the season unless things get dire again.
Well, it's what happened with Shaky, right? When Ranieri left, Shaky came in. We won a couple games. First game was Liverpool, I think. We beat them, and we won another, and he kept the job. And then he did that well. He did that well for 4 months that he got the job permanently, right? And that's the type of thing that you could see. They could just extend his interim basis to the end of the season. If that if that goes well, then they might give it him for the rest of the season. So, for next season as well. I think they say this every time, right, about the undertaking a process to appoint a permanent manager. I mean, you never know, right? We might be wrong. They might want somebody. They might already have somebody in mind. There were some rumours doing the rounds yesterday that managers have already been spoken to about the role and that there's no money to spend. Anil, John Percy said that in his tweet, basically, he was I'll just read it out to you now. John Percy, there he is. John Percy said, Marti sacked by Leicester, announcement expected later today. While this is a results business and performances have been very inconsistent, Cifuentes has worked under big restrictions and spent the same amount of money on transfer fees as Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, it's a damning indictment, isn't it, of kind of how... Did Steve just go? It's a damning indictment of what's going on, isn't it, at the club, that the next manager, whoever it is, will also have very limited resources. They won't bring any players in NL.
For sure. And that's really, as you say, shows you how fucked the club is, really. But I still stand by the fact that I think Marti has been a horrific coach, one of the worst that we've seen here. So many things can be true. He was dealt a bad hand, but he played it very badly.
Can I add as well, there is no mention of either the goalkeeper coach or Xabi Colm. They normally mention alongside these have left. So there is a chance that, Xabi Colm and whoever the goalkeeping coach, I can't remember their name, is still staying. So that will be the coaching staff, you could say, around Andy King, and will likely be enough for them for now, right, on the interim basis until they appoint the new permanent manager.
Let me, Ragsy, before I let you go, mate, let me read this to you. I want to show you this. I want you to comment on it. As always, when a manager's sacked, you have the odds and stuff like that, and this is what the odds are at the minute. Of course, Russell Martin is at the very top again at 5-1. But just look at the names, man. I mean, anyone standing out to you?
I'll tell you what. Don't even. Luke, I'll come back after months and for brand this shit on me. Okay, right. I think we need, I doubt we're going to get him with Mark Robbins and stuff. Wait, is he out of Stoke? Or is he still at Stoke?
Yeah, he's still there. Still there.
Yeah, he's still there anyway. So we're not really going to poach him out of Stoke right now. So, but someone in the ilk of a Mark Robbins, where he's had experience with Coventry City in terms of going into a club that's been on the downhill and rebuilding them from the ashes to an extent. And just like an actual project manager that's been down there in the dumps and can rebuild the mentality of the squad back up potentially, or at least filter out those that are just clearly not interested, not part of what we need moving forward. Similar to what Pearson actually brought there. So someone like him would be good. We're not really going to get him out of
Carlos
Stoke,
Coburn would be nice. Would be lovely to get him. He was on
Villarreal, Valencia.
Yeah, they haven't been doing too hot this season. Oof, I would love that.
Who's going to take the job? Really, who's going to come in and take
Anyone
this
who's
job?
desperate?
It's only King. Yeah. That's what I say.
I would say,
I don't really.
if we get down to League One next year, at least Challoner there's less of a step up for Challoner to sort out. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Ragsy, mate, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna get you on Wednesday, mate. So if you're about
mate.
Fox's Den, mate. So look, we've got a lot of content this week. We'll get you on Wednesday, mate. Thank you so much, Ragsy. We'll speak to you shortly.
Yeah, pleasure, boys.
Thank you very much. Let's get Imran in. Imran, we've already spoken two times today, mate. How are you feeling about the news that it's finally confirmed?
Yeah, I just heard Steve say the same thing, right? Why did Top, right, go on this morning and say we're considering his position, and then I said this in the morning as well. Then we knew this afternoon he's going to announce it. Again, just total shambles, right? With organization wise, it's just. But look, anyway, forget all that. He's gone now. That's all that we wanted. Performances haven't been good, and I saw that tweet by Percy saying that it's the same as Sheffield Wednesday. He didn't have any signings, etc. But we still had Fatawu, we still had Mavadidi, we still had Jordan James, we still had Vestergaard. I don't consider him a good player, but we've got quality in there, right? He didn't make them play. It was too boring, too predictable, and it was time that the manager served his time and got relieved of his duty. So I'm happy that's done. So yeah, I'm happy in that sense, but like the rest of you guys, a little bit meh, what's next? And yeah, let's see. We just got to ride this season out, right? With Andy King, it looks like.
I know you've got to go. In a few minutes, Imran. So let me ask you this, mate. The statement, Leicester's statement said, I'll bring it back up here. Do I press that? There we go. They said. So Top said, I believe this is the right step at this time to improve performances and results and to act in the best interests of the club. First team coach Andy King will take charge of team preparations on an interim basis while we undertake a process to appoint a permanent manager. Do you think it's going to make it that far, Imran? Do you think we're going to make it to him being us finding a permanent manager, or we were just speculating that maybe Andy King comes in, wins a couple games, and they give it to him?
No, I think that is the latter, exactly what you said, right? There probably are managers out there we can go for, but who in the right mind would want to come to Leicester City right now in our predicament? They're going to have to be very desperate, right? We've given assurances to Ruud van Nistelrooy and various other managers in the past. Oh, don't worry, we'll give you because Ruud was really pissed off in January last year. When he didn't sign anybody, you could see that from his just from his body language that he was annoyed. So, yeah, maybe there is a short list. Maybe there is a short list out there, but let's be honest, they're not going to be. They're not going to be coming here anytime soon. Probably end of the season now, and I think that's the feeling amongst you guys as well, right? We're gonna see Andy King till the end of the season.
Luke, how do you think? Go on.
Unless, sorry, no. I was gonna say, unless we get a caretaker manager in, someone who just comes in like a Dean Smith, who just comes in and rides us through with that, commitment to say, right, I'm only going to be here until the end of the season. That might be a possibility, but still, I'm doubtful on that.
What were you going to say, Neil?
They could give I could see them bringing a caretaker, because the caretaker, like Dean Smith, would get a bonus for keeping us up, or I don't know, getting us to the playoffs, because that's how stupid King Power is. And so some people might have it. I mean, you can bring the list up in a second, but for example, I could see someone like Tony Mowbray until the end of the season, which, depending on his healthcare, I think would be a pragmatic and decent appointment for where we are. But I don't know, the fact that it's funny because you look at that statement and it sort of hints that, like, well, we're not maybe as hard up financially as we think we are, but then actions speak louder than words. And we just said it tops acted like a buffoon, I think, by leaking this announcement before the announcement and what's going on. So I don't know. So I personally do also expect King, but I do think that there are managers that will take the job, because, as I say, the way that Leicester operates, they will offer big bonuses for certain results, and some managers will fancy having a crack at that.
We don't even offer big bonuses. We just give them big wages and then give them a little bonus.
But Locks, just a quick question to you guys, right? So that interview that was conducted this morning, it's not even been released yet to the public, right? No. It's just we've had snippets, right? So it's going to be a pointless interview.
No. So as far I believe, the interview in its entirety is out on Tuesday.
There's probably going to be a lot of hot air, right? If they talk about Marti or anything, because that's all. Like within 5 hours of the interview being recorded, it's all not relevant anymore. Which is probably why he's waited a bit, so he could do an interview where he doesn't need to say much, and it's just hot air.
Yeah, well, I imagine the bits about Marti will maybe be cut out now. I don't know, I think all there was,
doesn't it?
I'd rather hear it than not hear it, to be honest.
Well, it will. The interview's out on Tuesday, although I think I read, I think I heard somewhere that there might be little snippets today and tomorrow, but the full thing will be Tuesday. Luke, let me ask you this. How do you think the players are feeling, mate? How do you think the players are feeling now on this Sunday afternoon? They're on a day off. They're back in tomorrow. They know that it won't be Marti there. It'll be Andy King. Do you think do you think they might feel a bit like, I don't know, like reinvigorated us? Do you think?
This is probably the biggest enigma of the whole thing that we can actually talk about, because we've been sitting here for the last 2.5 months, been saying, do you think the players are playing for Marti? One week we say we do, the next week we say they don't. I would imagine probably 50-50. I do think there's players in there probably think he's a nice guy, but I do think that a lot of the players are probably starting to really down tools. Fatawi looks like a big one of them. So I think the question is as well, like, do you think that some of these players might be motivated, but the other half might just be like, one, I'm already out the door, my contract's nearly up, or B, we've been for 3 or 4 managers, it's clearly not working here, I'm dejected, which leads to the question next is, what's more important right now for where we're at? Do we need a manager that's going to come in that's going to really get a tune out of these players and he's the great coach, or do we need someone that's going to come in here and like be a really excellent, like personal, charismatic character that can get everyone back on side, put an arm around his shoulder, make him believe himself again? And I think the man for that job is Big Ange. His Australian aura, his personality, suicide football in the championship. I think the players would just love his accent, not to blow wind up my ass. I think he sounds way cooler than me for what it's worth. So I think if he came in, people are like, oh, who's this guy? Big Ange, boy. I reckon people would get behind that.
I can't wait to see Yannick Vestergaard on the halfway line being lobbed every single time.
I knew that was coming.
Tom Colomos has just tweeted saying this became apparent quite early this morning, but Leicester's suggestion was that no such thing was in the works. Things clearly developed quickly. So as always, the journos contacted the club this morning to say, "Oh, we're hearing things. Is he gone?" Leicester say, "No, he's not gone." And obviously, then this afternoon he is gone.
Actually,
which I
yes.
think, yeah. Well, that's usual PR stuff, right? They're not
Yeah,
gonna.
of course they have to say that. I
Um,
want to note as well. I've just read through like the past 3 statements of Cooper and Rude, and the wording is a bit different because when Cooper left, they were very clear that they wanted a new manager in as soon as possible. That was how it was phrased. It was which we hope to conclude as soon as possible in terms of appointing a new manager. This time there is no mention of that. It's clear it's on an interim basis as well, which is the first time they've mentioned that. The other times, when Benny Alcock or whatever, who was Ben Dawson, took over, it sounded very clear like it was just short term. We're getting something done as soon as possible. Well, this time it does sound more long term, and that could say maybe Top wants the process of the technical director in before they make a decision, and I think it's likely that this could be at least a few months. Because I would expect when you word it like that, you want to get some other business in order first, and the technical director might be first on the list.
Well, Steve, I mean, that's a good point, right? Just because it says we'll work now to start the process on appointing a new permanent manager, that could be the summer. They could now be working on bringing in a new manager for the summer. Andy King, please keep us up, cross our fingers and our toes, and just hope for the best. And a new manager comes in the summer. Hopefully, as we all speculate, right, with PSR not spending this season, that next summer is the one where we can spend. That guy will have a much better hand than Marti Cifuentes had.
Yeah, 100%. Whoever we get in next summer, you can say to him, look, we've got the technical director in place, fingers crossed. It's going to be one of his contacts, and he can say, look, this is a brand new refresh. There's no PSR issues because you don't have to worry about hundreds of £1 million of losses because they've all rolled off the cliff now, and we're in a fairly decent area, and we'll have money to spend. So, and I think that will be an attractive option. Look, after the World Cup, there's going to be loads of management changes. We're going to see Man U, maybe Man City, Liverpool potentially. So many clubs changing managers, and they'll have an add-on effect to everyone else in the league, and then dropping down as well. So we could actually end up with a decent manager, but we've got to stay in the league first. We've got to stay in the Championship, and that is the be-all and end-all. And I really hope, because Andy King's been here now since before Ruud van Nistelrooy, right?
Yeah.
I hope that he's got a good understanding of this squad, and his first team sheet on Saturday doesn't involve Jordan Ayew playing up front, because I think that'll just lose a lot of goodwill already if you're just picking the same players week in, week out. You've got to see...
What if Luke Thomas is starting?
Oh, he likely is he not? He's an academy.
I think
well, to be fair, who else is a left-footed left back at the moment? But
he likes
Take
Luca.
PK
He
off
played in the summer,
the
didn't he?
off the operation table.
Yeah.
He did like a Luca. You're right. He did like a Luca. I mean, Imran, let me ask you this, mate. I'll just ask you this before I let you go, Imran, and then I want to ask Luke next because I'm interested to hear what he says. But Imran, with the change in manager, could there be a return for Harry Winks to the squad?
I was dreading that question. I guess when a new guy comes in, then I guess all cards are back on the table, right? Everyone gets a fresh restart. That's how Andy King's going to perceive it, and probably Winks is probably thinking, "Great, you know what? I might have a chance to get back in again." But after his theatrics over the past few months and year, probably, I don't think fans will be that happy with that as well. But look, I'm going to trust Andy King. I'm going to give him a bit of credit for the first 6 or 7 games. 6, 7. Yeah, you got to give him.
No way you just said
boomer,
that.
man. That's so boomer.
Imran.
You know what? My son has been.
Let me read this to you, boys. Very strong tweet here from Matt Piper. So let me read this to you. Marti wasn't the answer, but I struggle to see who could be the answer for our Mickey Mouse ran club. The chairman need to cast aside his ego and make the best decision for the club his family worked so hard to make successful, and find a buyer with the energy and desire to take us forward out of this absolute mess. So there you go.
Shit, he woke up and chose silence.
Wow.
Yeah, that's strong. Very strong from Pipes there. Yeah, absolutely. So, right. Imran, I'm going to let you go, mate. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon, mate. Let me ask you, Luke. What are you thinking, though, mate? I mean, Harry Winks. Could we see the return? We all thought it was curtains for Winks in the summer, right? Under Ruud, and him and Fass were brought back into the fold. Vestergaard as well brought back into the fold. I think we can all agree we don't want him to, and none of us are saying we want Harry Winks back. But it wouldn't surprise me, mate, if he was at least on the bench or something in the next game under Andy King.
I've been actually wanting to bring this up for probably about a week and a half. I've just been too frightened. I wanted to wait for the January transfer window to finish and then to say to you guys, if it closes hypothetically and he's still here, then yeah, absolutely, we need to use him because of the money we're paying him. If he's been toxic towards managers and us as a fan base, yeah, we're all upset about it, right? But if we're just looking at it on paper or just what's best for the team right now, if he's still got a good relationship with his teammates and they want him around to look up to him, then yes, I do want him playing because right now we've got a lot of injuries and we've got people not coming in. So I'm not against it if he's going to play properly, not pull out of challenges and stuff like that.
Yeah, what about you, Anil? Do you see any way back for Harry Winks? I mean, he's gone in 6 months, obviously, we know that. Marti said in his press conference the other day that he's looking for a club. If no one comes in for him, Anil, and he is here beyond January, do you think he might be used?
Only towards the end of the season if we got desperate. I think that's a club-led decision. It might also be backed by the manager as well. But I think if two managers have said to Rudkin, this guy's a waste of space and he needs to go and he's toxic personality, then the club are going to do because the thing is you could play him, but he could be acts of sabotage, right? There was definitely in his last time that he played, he pulled out of challenge and the opposition scored from it. So, he obviously is so upset that he's willing to do things like that. So no, I think it's a non-starter, unfortunately. Well, not even unfortunately. I think if a player's going to act like that, good riddance,
What about you, Doc? What are you saying, mate?
Don't get him back, man. He's got half a year left. Get him out. I don't want we need a new fresh start, right? I'm hoping we either take a gamble on some up and coming manager who seems very good, or the only way we could get somewhat big name in right would be someone low on their stock, and the only two I can think of in that case is like a Big Ange or Russell Martin, who's just had disastrous spells and might need a kickstart back in their career after such massive managerial disappointments they were last time around. So yeah, a complete restart, get Wings out, get Samari out. Anyone with massive wages who's got half a year left on their deal, don't fucking include them, man. Try and ship them off in January, and we start looking for the rebuild in the summer.
Yeah. Steve, Luke asked us earlier when we started, mate. You weren't here, but Luke asked what could Top do next to kind of, I know a lot of people's minds have been made up of Top, and I think, rightly so, but I'm saying what could Top do next to at least give you something, a little bit of confidence?
Well, first of all, don't hire Kevin Felwell. That's the first number one thing. Don't do that.
Or Russell Martin.
Or Russell Martin, yeah. Genuinely, I think at this point, because if we do get the points deduction this week, which is the big rumor going around at the moment, you come out and just accept that you've made the mistakes and that you're looking to fix it. And, the technical director, there'll be a time frame and this will be picked up before the start of the new season and we go again. Come out and just be honest. Hold your hands up. Because I think a lot of our fans would be like, fair enough, you've admitted you've made mistakes. You're not, burying your head in the sand and hoping that it goes away. And you're trying to put things in place. Like the first interview that you gave, it did actually make a lot of fans think, okay, well, we're making steps in the right direction. And then we heard nothing for 2.5 months, 3 months. That's not good enough. So be honest. Say to the fans, we fucked up. We're trying to be ambitious. We overspent. We shouldn't have overspent. We should have played within our means, and we've made mistakes. But this is the point going forward. And then I think a lot of fans will be like, okay, we'll give you some time. But if you don't do that and you continue to do what you're currently doing, that's not going to change. And I actually think a lot of fans have already said, that's it. Too late. King Power need to sell.
Yeah. Let's look at some of the comments here. So, Milgo says, I'd rather play Winks than Hamza. Need Winks, the only real quality we have. Winks is a guy that jumps out of tackles. And there was another comment here I wanted to bring up. Says, where is it? We were in the Premier League when Cooper was sacked. You have to pretend you know what you are doing there. 14th in the champ. Everyone knows you don't know what you are doing. So no need for pretense. Yeah.
Just really quickly on Harry Winks, on that itself. If you bring Harry Winks back in now, what does that say to Oliver Skipp, who's been okay, but he's got a long contract here? If you bring a player back in that's out of contract in the summer and doesn't want to be here, that just makes Skipp's going to be like, well, fuck it. Why am I even bothering? It's just I wouldn't do it myself.
Yeah. I want to get everybody's thoughts again on the Owen thing. Like, Steve, you've said it. Anil, you've said a couple of things as well. But obviously, they've had this interview, and I will say the interviews were planned right in advance. It wasn't out. It wasn't just today they decided to do it. Today it was always meant to be the case. Luke, Steve just said, why would Top say to Owen, we're going to have a meeting about it. We're going to discuss it, and then before actually announcing anything. What do you think about that? Was it Top's way of trying to improve communication? I mean, it was like a 1-day thing, right? It was like a few hours from when because I heard from, and I didn't hear this from Owen. I heard this from another journalist that there was a pre-approved time of 1:00 that they could tell the public that they're going to have this interview that they were going to have this meeting with the manager. So what do you think about that, Luke? That strategy that they pulled, saying that they're going to have this meeting and then 4 hours later they're going to sack him?
That's a head fuck. Because we don't know if it's even true. Like, are we just taking everything as verbatim? This is 100% what happened. Like, they deliberately chose to leak it and then release this thing 4 hours later. It doesn't make sense.
Well, Top said it in the interview. I think in all of the interviews he's done today, it's not just Owen. He's done multiple interviews. Athletic, I think the Telegraph. He's done multiple interviews. I think he's told all of them, we're having a meeting with Marti later today.
Do you believe it was before I answer this? Do you
I
believe
do.
this?
Yeah,
all said it. All the
but I
journalists
think
have said it. So
they should have said to them, look, I know we said you can release it at 1:00. Just wait a bit longer. Don't allow them to release that information before we even get to sack the manager.
Let me
it's
flip
probably
this
a ploy to make it look like they are active, and in his case, his world at least, improve communications, and we all want improved communications, but these are things that should not be slipping out from the owner to the media that we're going to have a meeting about. But I think it was an intentional decision to try and show, we are doing something, we are working on it. Even if they decided to keep him, we knew there was a meeting and they had aligned on the way forward at the very least, if that makes sense.
So let me flip this on you, right? So we all talk about they got to talk like this, they got to release this, not release that, line, be transparent. The funny thing is, because this is so much of a circus from the outside looking in, there's only so much they can be transparent with us without scaring off anyone ever wanting to come here, play for us, be a manager, have anything to do with any affiliation with this club under King Power regime, because it already looks absolutely honking enough. Look at all the things that we've moaned about. People are not stupid. People can figure this out for themselves as well. So the only way, as Steve said, is he's got to come out top and try and be human and say, look, listen, we made a mistake, and I'm going to need some help. I miss my father so much. I'm not the same man as him, but I love this club and I want to do things and keep his father's legacy alive. And because I love this club too, I'm going to get some help. Technical director comes in, drain the swamp. We begin again and just hope that, all the pieces can fall together. We get to half the club that we were before. But in the meantime, like I go to before, I just don't know how he builds that bridge back.
Anil, I mean, it's certainly bold. It's a bold strategy. I don't want to shit on it just yet because I don't really feel strongly about it. What they did, they were always going to be filming with Owen and with the other journalists. They were always going to be doing it on today. The manager was always going to be asked, right? He was always going to be asked about the manager. So maybe they've just decided, okay, we're going to say this, right, to the journalists. But it's a bold strategy. I don't think I've ever seen an owner say, "Well, yeah, we're gonna have a meeting with them about the manager later." I've never seen that ever. So, how are you feeling about that kind of thing?
For me, it's already backfired. I'm sorry. It just comes. I actually think it makes things worse because I think it comes across as again a club that just is completely clueless in all regards that we've seen throughout the time. And we already know in the summer that multiple managers turned us down, like Gary O'Neill and Russell Martin weren't actually interested in the job in the end because they came in and were like, what is going on here? This is weird, man. This is just weird. I'm getting bad vibes. And I get bad vibes just from seeing it done this way. It just comes with a naivety, like knowing anything. Top is like interim CEO or whatever. In his head, it probably makes sense. But I think anyone who's normal is like, what is going on here? These lot are clueless. On and off the pitch, which we are.
Sky as well. So that'll be Rob Dorset. I mean, I actually think this is what I think, Steve, and I'll let you, or Doc, I'll come to Doc first. This is what I think's happened, Doc, and this is just a guess, right? I said this on the last stream. I think they already knew he was going. They'd already decided he was going. It was already decided full time. Yeah. Well, I think full time yesterday. I think it was fully decided, and I think for whatever reason they've decided to, maybe Marti wasn't available this morning. I don't know. I'm trying to think of reasons, right? But for whatever reason they couldn't do it. The legal stuff. Kate put a comment in the chat earlier saying, board vote. These things have to go to a vote, right? A board vote. So they knew he was going. Probably so they said this thing. But I suppose the thing that doesn't look good, Doc, is when we were here earlier speculating, oh, he might still stay. Like, they haven't made the decision, but they already knew. Do you know what I'm saying, Doc?
I mean, the thing is, like, why would they then be allowed to let that go out? Nothing else from the interview has been allowed to go out. Shit's releasing on Tuesday. Just talk about him if he's already gone. Like, that's how you can do the interview, right? There is no need for this, we'll have a discussion about it. And I'm looking forward to see how much of Marti talk will be in that interview. I hope it's as little as possible, because I want to hear about the other aspects of the club, which is obviously nice to see them improve their communications. Something I've been yelling about for ages. Even if we don't agree with them, at least we can try and understand their thought process at the very least, which gives a bit. But yeah, it's a big pile of shit. I'll be jumping off now as well. I've got dinner soon, so pleasure to see him gone, and let's see what's next.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off early. Cheers, mate. Nice.
See you guys.
Fuck it off.
Let me move. Lower your camera a bit if you can. Can you lower your camera? You're like this. You're like a little. There you go. I bet. I mean, this is what we've been saying for a while, Steve. That somebody said a bet Marti already knew. I mean, I think Marti had to have been surprised he was still in the job. He had to have been.
Yeah, for sure. Like but you could tell, and as you said, Owen previously said that he looked really depressed after an interview, sort of thing. You could tell the last 5 or 6 weeks, his demeanor has gone down and down and down. He looks even more, and I think a lot of us were expecting him to go before Christmas, but we kept hold of him, and we thought, okay, we'll back him in January. Then you get to day 25 of January, and you've brought nobody in, and you've let one player go. He knew the writing was on the wall. I think he's probably surprised he didn't go after the Wrexham game, because that was poor. Yeah. But yeah, look, again, I keep banging on the fact that I don't think the manager is the overall issue here. Like, he's been terrible. Don't get me wrong. He's not made the best with the squad that we've got. But if you don't back the manager and you keep on players, because we've still got players from Club Puel's era, it's just it was a poison chalice this season, no matter who got it, in my opinion. And we were still going to have players that were going to not give a shit. Even if you brought in Sean Dyche or, Neil Warnock or whoever who kicked them up the arse, I don't think it would have mattered. They still would have played these players that don't give a shit. It is what it is.
Luke is salty. Said, I just want to see his return to exciting football again. I'm absolutely sick of sideways ball. Give me heavy metal German football. But Luke, I suppose the only thing we can really go off, mate, is pre-season, where where Andy King took charge of a couple games. He defaulted to a bit of an Enzo type system. Whereas a lot of other fans now are saying we don't want that, right? We want some get it forward, like Nigel Pearson football, right? So how do you think Andy King will approach this first game next weekend against Charlton, which on paper, we've said this a lot, on paper a winnable game? How do you think he's going to approach that, mate? Back to basics?
To be honest with you, Enzo, I don't think he's going to immediately default to Enzo abruptly with like less than a week to work with these lads, because this news has only just come out. I think that he might actually keep it somewhat similar to what we've already been seeing before he starts tweaking things. This is a big step for him. He's probably going to be proper nervous of this as well. And as Duck mentioned earlier in this training, we've got bare bones staff as it is. And don't forget, Ruud van Nistelrooy didn't even bring barely any staff in with him either. So yeah, Neil's also right, top to bottom. This club's an absolute shit show of where we're at. This everything feels like a knee-jerk reaction, chain reaction, may I ask, from the last one, and we're always playing catch-up on it. So that's the biggest worry about this club right now. Yeah, so I went on a bit of a tangent there, Locks, but yeah, I definitely think that Andy King's not going to change it too much the first week.
Conscious, we've not been playing Enzo balls in there, have we? We've not been playing Enzo ball. There's been many differences there.
Yeah, if we have been playing a shite version. I know what he's saying though, because you do see Ricardo inverting in. You do see us playing out from the back and trying to sort of bait the press and go around it. But I feel it's like the player's interpretation of it rather than a manager who knows what he's doing. I think when we were in pre-season, Andy King, it was more of a sort of traditional 4-3-3, quite attacking. He got the fullbacks forward as well, more energy into it, bit basic. Think he'll get done by managers who know how to set up and how to beat him. But, you know, first couple of games will be a bit of a surprise factor where people really don't know what he will do. Plus the players will be playing for him. So he might be enough to get some more points. We'll have to wait and see. But there's only so much you can really do with the team. I think, to be honest with you, what it comes down to for me is not even really tactics. It's just going to come down to attitude. That's what gets us safe this season, or it doesn't. If the players continue to down tools and not really putting any performances for the rest of the season, they've already accepted their fate, then it's over. If it's especially the young guns, if the young guns though come on, and I think this is where we do have a chance, because I still think that every time the young players come on, if nothing else, you can see the energy and attitude and the eagerness to impress. Even if, for example, Lewis Page did lose his man for the corner yesterday, I still think overall he was one of the better performers for Leicester. Not really saying that much. I think the attitudes are there. So if you can get it on them and just say, look, you need to run through fucking, you know, run a marathon for me out there. You never know. Maybe Jake Evans, instead of getting sent out on loan, is thrust into the team. So all you got to do, I think we've got the quality. We've still got way more quality than like the bottom five, most of the division even still. So as long as we just get like a bit of an attitude and good, you know, show, we can get something out of it. But yeah, I do fear that if we're just playing slow possession, we'll be in trouble. But I actually think that with King, we didn't do that so much. I think we did make more of an attempt to get it forward a bit faster and be a bit more direct with the pressing. We were a lot fitter then though, which we're not anymore. That's a bit of an issue.
Legion of Positivity, two of their managers are in jobs, so they ain't happening, mate. Dyson and Gary Neal are not available. Yeah, I mean, let me ask Steve. I suppose in that opening 10 minutes of that Charlton game next weekend is going to tell us how fucked we really are, right? Because if we start that game lethargic, slow, lapses in concentration, basically what we've had all season, I think a lot of us will think, oh my God, we are in trouble and we could go down here.
I think a lot of us already think that. I mean, I'm there. I said it in September that I'm worried that this season has so many sort of links to the season we got relegated the first time round, with all the players out of contract, not giving a shit, not really putting in the effort. And yeah, the first 10 minutes against Charlton, if we go 1-0 down in that first 10 minutes, it won't be Andy King that gets the booze. It will be the players. And a lot of the ire of the fans have been aimed at the players recently. You know, and I know that there was a couple of chances yesterday if you're not fit to run the club. From what I was told, that's not ideal. But the actual players itself, yeah, if they've got another manager sacked, because let's not forget when Cooper was sacked, Top went into the training ground the next day and basically death stared everybody to be like, we don't want to sack another manager. I don't know what he's going to do tomorrow if he walks into the training ground. Is he going to have knives out ready? Just be like, come on then, who wants it? But
he's going back to Thailand. He won't be there.
Oh, that's nice. Well, that's good. It's nice to know he's really busy, you know, looking after the club's interest. But yeah, I'm there next Saturday and I'm dreading it. You know, it could be a terrible performance. We could spank them 5-0 and, you know, everyone will be happy. But
I don't think you need to dread it though, Steve. I don't think you need to dread it, man, because we need to remember one thing here. Like we've been asking for the, you know, the people have been calling for the manager to go for a long time, right? So we should at least be thankful he's gone. And now I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens on Saturday. That might quickly change, Steve, like within 10 minutes, of course. But I'm very excited to see what differences there are. What the lineup, right? You know, Kevin Gray was called up to the. Kevin Gray was called up to the bench, you know, the squad last time out. I'm not saying he's going to start, but I'm saying he was called up. So I'd want to see him remain there, hopefully. Bade Aluko, I mean, what does he need to do now to get a start in the league? Because yes, he had that bad before, you know, the sending off against Southampton, but since then, he's worked hard and he's did well against Cheltenham and, you know, just like the other youngsters. So if there's more of that, apparently Louis Page as well has just liked the Instagram post of his sacking.
Good lad.
Yeah, you are right though. I think the when the lineup comes out, I think we'll be like, okay, because I guess another way of looking at it is that the tactics that we were playing, they stifled the wingers so much. With Andy King, it might then release the wingers to go and be able to take on their man and put the ball into the box. So, we it could be a good game. It's Leicester City, and we've still got most of the players that don't want to be here. That's the only issue.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to jump off, guys.
Yeah, nice one, mate.
Steve.
All right. Cheers,
Thanks,
mate.
Steve.
Cheers, Steve. See you soon. Let's look at some last few comments before we finish. We've got a few minutes left here. Nelson left back, Aluko right back, Page 10, Monga left wing, and Evan. I'm still not sure about Evans playing as a striker, but yeah, I get your point. Steve, hopefully there's another boycott. You won't watch at least 15 minutes. Our midfield, Luke, for the next 3 weeks, unless Skip is just Skip is just a concussion issue. But he's saying that the midfield should be run by Louis Page in a league that is highly physical. Are we not really worried and upset by that, Luke?
Upset by what?
Louis Page running the midfield.
I got nothing wrong with that. I would love to see that. I do think he needs support, though. To be honest, if you can't expect him to do absolutely everything, which is kind of sad because we're relying on a 17-year-old kid, and he was pretty much the best player on the pitch in that last game. Who would you play alongside him? If it would have to be Skip, yeah. If not Skip, I would much rather Samari than fucking Hamza, to be honest with you. Especially if we're trying to stand him in the January transfer window.
Well, we've not had analysis for a while, Anil. So,
shots fired.
No. But I suppose, Anil, though, it's nice to think you have done your last Marti analysis, so that's positive, right?
No, I'll have to do one to wrap up why he stunk the place out towards the end and maybe what we can do to go forward. I think that's a good comment, though, from Conscious. At the end of the day, that is a worry. I do think the club are looking for midfielders, so you might even see one in the squad by this time next week. To be honest, I think regardless, we do need one because unfortunately, with Aaron Ramsey getting injured, right, we need, I'm going to get sacked by Locks for sure. We do need... you need depth, you need rotation options, right? Like I think again, we when we're lethargic, we really lack the ability to re-inject pace into the game because we just haven't got people to come off the bench that can give you that energy, which we need. So I think we do need to bring someone. So it's a good point. How are we going to play? It will be interesting because last time that we played Charlton, they went man for man marking against us. So the game is like a chaotic sort of one against one, who can win their duels. We have got more individual quality. It comes down to sort of blood and thunder. So it'll be interesting if Andy King decides to go that way and match them, and maybe we go man for man ourselves, or are we going to be the team that still tries to keep patterns and play our way out? Don't like the sound of that, to be honest. We'll have to see. But if it does come to man for man duels, then it's true the younger players could get bullied a little bit. Equally, though, if you're playing man to man marking and you're out against Jeremy Monger and he skins you, you're absolutely fucked because in a system where you'd normally have players back to support you, you could be caught completely off guard. Same with Fatawu. So it could work for us and it could suit our style. That would actually be my advice for any manager that comes in, by the way, is instead of playing this sort of zonal system and playing it around the back, I would actually try and play more of a man-for-man system and just win the individual duels and rely on quality. Because I think if nothing else, it will get the crowd pumped and that could get us some points. Whereas if we just try and, catch people in this chess game, it stinks the place out.
I was going to ask that though. I'll ask you, Luke. Formation, what are you doing, mate? What are you doing in this against Charlton? 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 3-5-2. What are you thinking?
Neil just kind of put to bed my answer now because he's right. But you guys know what I'm always going to go for the Enzo ball. But look, to be realistic, all I think matters is this. I think whoever takes control of this club, whether it be Andy King or in the present right now and in the future, if we're going to hang on to people like this isn't going to happen. But let's say Fatawi, Mongo, Mavadidi, we all had the conversation, the best wingers in the league. We need to start building around our wingers and utilizing them. We're going to start at least having an 8 alongside them on either side. That's why you guys know I'm always going to go the 3-2-4-1 Enzo ball. But what's most important is just some support for our wingers because we should be killing people in this league of these wingers and people around them, and we're not. And it's really shame. We've still got some of these players that we're here for the Enzo season.
Yeah. A lot of people saying Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Look, I've said this the last 2 years, but I would love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Leicester City.
I could see him in the summer, but he won't come in now to be a firefighter. Someone like him would want the full season to fix the team. I could see us getting a good manager in the summer for sure, but I just think for right now, it's very unlikely. I mean, that said, though, Ruud did come in and he was still a name, wasn't he? But then we were in the Premier League. Now we're just Championship. And we're not even the Championship team that's got prospects of getting into the playoffs, really.
Yeah. Okay, right. I think we're going to end it there. That's on the hour. So thank you to everybody. Would I take Bielsa? Yeah, but I think he's managing Uruguay or something like that.
Yeah, the World Cup, he ain't coming, mate. Yeah.
So yeah, now that we've spoken about it quite a bit earlier on in the show, I think it's going to be a permanent manager in the summer, and I think they're going to take their time with it, and they're going to leave it with Andy King for a while. I suppose it depends how bad it gets, right? If we start badly with Andy King,
yeah, then they'll have to get someone. Yeah.
Because I think it's fair that people mention. I think it's fair that people say Andy King was part of Ruud van Nistelrooy's staff. He was part of Marti Cifuentes' staff. He has been culpable in some capacity, right? Even if it's 2%, he's been a part of it. So who knows? Yeah, 3 streams in a day. We knew it was coming. It's all for the last couple of months. TikTok. You just knew it was going to explode one day. Today was the day. And there might be more to come. Who knows? I mean, remember last time we did the Cooper sacked stream? We were back live 2 hours later because the photos of them celebrating in Copenhagen came out.
Yeah.
So who knows? We might see Harry Winks on a lamppost with his willy out, celebrating or something in a couple of hours. We'll be live for that. Right. Thanks to Luke, thanks to Anil, thanks to Steve, thanks to Imran, thanks to Ragsy, and thanks to Doc. We will be back live tomorrow, probably at some point. So make sure, imagine this would break the internet. There's 15, there's 1,500 people watching now. Imagine if Rodkin was sat, we'd be hitting 2,000. So make sure to hit a like on the video. Make sure to hit subscribe. We'll see you next time something happens, or if not, tomorrow. Cheers all. Take care. Bye-bye. No more 200 grand, but our new sponsors, The Beautiful Frame, have smashed it with this Jamie Vardy piece. It's unreal. They're a local Leicester business as well, which makes it even better. And not just City, they do prints for other clubs as well. So it's perfect if you are stuck for a birthday or Christmas present for one of your friends or family. Now, the best bit, they have sorted BTG viewers out with a discount. Just use BTG12 at checkout for money off. BTG12. Grab yours now at thebeautifulframe.com. The link is down below.